There's a moment in life, often quiet and subtle, when you begin to feel that time is moving differently. Not in fear, not in panic, but in presence, in clarity, in a gentle awareness that this season may be your last. This video is not meant to scare you. It's here to speak softly to your spirit, to offer comfort, not dread, to bring reflection, not regret. Because sometimes the signs are there, not loud, not dramatic, but whispered into your routines. They move in softly, like twilight after a long day. And when we learn to recognize them, we can respond not with fear, but with peace. What are those signs? They may look like a deeper and persistent fatigue. Not just tiredness from a poor night's sleep, but a steady heaviness in your body, even after rest. It's a kind of tiredness that sleep doesn't fix, where your energy feels slower, your limbs feel heavier, and even simple tasks begin to feel monumental. It's your body's quiet way of saying, "Go gently with me now." This isn't weakness, it's wisdom. A request for rest, for stillness, for attention to the moments that matter most. A sudden craving for simplicity. You feel a natural pull away from clutter, noise, and obligation. Your soul begins to seek out quiet corners, familiar routines, clean spaces. You long for clarity, not complexity. Where once you may have craved activity, now you crave peace. This craving isn't retreat, it's refinement, a sacred filtering of what truly adds value to your days. Letting go of the urge to chase. You no longer feel pulled toward goals, success, or recognition. Instead, you feel drawn to the warmth of sunlight through the window, the sound of laughter from another room, the comfort of simply breathing. Your pace slows, not out of resignation, but out of reverence. Life is no longer a race, it's a prayer. A desire to reconnect or say goodbye. You may feel compelled to reach out, to offer forgiveness, to share something you've long kept to yourself. You start thinking about the people who shaped your journey. You want them to know they mattered. There's a beautiful urgency to tie emotional knots with care. Not for drama, but for peace. Finding joy in reflection, over anticipation. Rather than looking ahead, your heart starts looking back, not in regret, but in celebration. You replay memories that hold deep meaning. You revisit joys that shaped you. You recognize that your past isn't something you left behind. It's something you carry with you, and it still has the power to fill you. Crying or laughing. More easily, your emotions rise gently, like waves that no longer crash, but lap softly at the shore. A story, a song, a scent. Suddenly, tears come. Or laughter. Both feel real. Both feel healing. This openness is not fragility. It is spiritual maturity. A release of the armor you no longer need. A softening of the spirit. You begin to release the desire to be right. You argue less. You forgive more. You see people not for their faults, but for their efforts. The world no longer feels like a place you need to win in. It becomes a place you long to bless. You walk through it more slowly, but more meaningfully. A growing acceptance of the body's changes. The body speaks differently now. It requests more rest, more patience, more tenderness. You move slower, but with greater awareness. You no longer look at your body for what it can do, but for what it has carried you through. Every scar, every wrinkle becomes a sacred map. Speaking less, but with more meaning. Words feel heavier, not a burden, but a blessing. You choose them with care. You've learned the art of silence, the strength of listening. When you do speak, people listen, because they sense the depth from which your words rise. a gentle curiosity about what's next. You begin to wonder, not fearfully, but quietly. What comes after? Is there peace? Is there reunion? You begin to hold your mortality like a familiar friend, not yet ready to say goodbye, but no longer needing to run. You trust that something kind waits for you beyond this moment. These signs aren't meant to alarm. They're invitations. Invitations to live more presently, to speak more truthfully, to love more freely, to breathe more deeply. They're reminders that while your days may be fewer, their value has never been greater. So honor the signs. Let them lead you to write that letter, to say I love you without hesitation, to take the slow walk, to hold the hand, to rest in the sun, to laugh without restraint, to cry when it moves you, to remember all that you've been and still are. This chapter is not about fear. It is about grace. And if you feel these signs, welcome them. Let them walk beside you. Let them teach you how to be here, fully, gently, beautifully. Because your life has mattered, your presence still matters, and your journey, however long it continues, remains full of meaning. You are still here, and that's enough for today. But if there is more time, tomorrow, next week, next year, then let it be lived gently, fully. Let it be filled not with pressure, but with presence. Let it be filled with mornings where you sit quietly with your tea and watch the light shift across the wall. With slow walks where your steps are guided not by speed, but by attention. Let it be filled with a second glance at the clouds, the flowers, the things you used to pass without noticing. Call someone just to hear their voice. Write down something you remember that no one else knows. Not because it has to be shared, but because it's yours and it matters. If you feel your body changing, listen. It's not a betrayal. It's a language. A way of telling you what it needs, what it's ready to release, what it wants to remember. Speak more kindly to yourself. Speak softly to others. Be the person whose gentleness lingers in a room long after they've left. There is wisdom in the pauses. There is power in the soft things. And there is still joy, perhaps a quieter kind than before, but joy all the same. If you have one more season, fill it with grace. If you have one more month, let it carry beauty. If you only have today, let it be enough. Let it be honest. Let it be lived with your whole heart. You are not behind. You are not finished. And you are never alone in this chapter. Not now. Not ever. As time shifts, we begin to understand the difference between what fades and what stays. Our bodies may change. Our roles may disappear. Our routines may soften. But certain things remain. The love you've given, it doesn't vanish. It echoes in the lives you've touched, the meals you made, the smiles you offered, the hands you held, the quiet ways you showed up when it was needed most. That love still lives. The wisdom you've earned, it doesn't expire. It lives in how you now see the world. Less judgmental, more patient. You notice what others miss. You listen when others talk. You understand silence in ways you couldn't before. The kindness you've practiced, it doesn't go unnoticed. Every time you forgave without apology. Every time you stayed gentle when the world wasn't. Every moment you showed restraint, grace, or mercy, you changed something. Even if no one said thank you. This is your legacy. Not the things you owned, not the titles you held, but the quiet, holy way you kept choosing love. There comes a time when the soul speaks less, but feels more. You begin to sense beauty in a moment more than in a destination. You find prayer in small acts, folding a blanket, watering a plant, watching the breeze move through trees. You find yourself spending more time in memory, not to escape, but to revisit what matters. You close your eyes and see someone you loved who is no longer here. You hear their voice. You smell their cooking, and for a moment, they're with you. That too is a kind of presence, a sacred one. You begin to trust life's rhythm more. You stop needing every question answered. You allow mystery to remain. You allow yourself to feel what you feel, without needing to name it or explain it. You understand now that the heart doesn't always need to be fixed. Sometimes it only needs to be held. In the final stretch, courage looks different. It's not about fighting. It's not about striving. It's about staying open. It's about staying kind. It takes courage to slow down in a world that praises speed. It takes courage to rest in a culture that values productivity. It takes courage to admit you're tired, to say, "I've done enough," to say, "I'm ready to just be." And when you say that, it doesn't mean you're giving up. It means you're giving in to grace, to peace, to something deeper, something holy. Because some of the most important things you'll ever say in life will be said softly, in a quiet room, with no one watching. And those moments, they will be enough. And still, there's more to say. You might think the final chapter is about endings, but in truth, it's about arrival. About finally landing in the center of who you are without the need to rush, to change, or to pretend. You begin to notice the beauty of simply being here, not as someone who is trying, not as someone who is climbing, but as someone who has arrived. This is the blessing of age, the stillness after the storm, the clarity after the questions, the deep knowing after years of seeking. You are no longer the seeker. You are the one who has found. You've found that love isn't measured by what you receive, but by what you've offered. You've found that peace doesn't come from answers, but from acceptance. You've found that meaning isn't built from greatness, but from grace. You sit with your own company and it feels full. You watch the world go on, and you no longer feel left behind. You feel free. And that freedom, it is the gift of time well lived. So if you find yourself nearing the end of something, an era, a rhythm, a breath, don't rush past it. Rest in it. Let it hold you. Let it whisper to you the words you've waited a lifetime to hear. You did well. Not perfect, but faithful. Not famous, but meaningful. Not loud, but deeply, quietly, beautifully enough. Let those words be your closing prayer. Let them echo through your being. Let them stay with you. Because you are not just ending a chapter, you are completing a circle. And when your time does come to cross into whatever comes next, may you do so not in fear, but in peace, with a soft smile, with a warm heart, and with the deep, unshakable knowing that your life was love made visible.